Carbohydrate metabolism is the whole biochemical processes responsible for the metabolic formation, breakdown, and interconversion of carbohydrates in living organisms. Carbohydrates are central to many essential metabolic pathways such as glycolysis, gluconeogenesis, fructose metabolism, and many others. In mammals, there are different metabolic pathways in cells that break down fuel molecules to transfer their energy into high energy compounds such as ATP, FADH, GTP, and others. In carbohydrate metabolism, the breakdown starts from digestion of food in the gastrointestinal tract and is followed by absorption of carbohydrates components by the enterocytes in the form of monosaccharides. Then, the monosaccharides are transported to cells for utilization in both aerobic and anaerobic respiration through the citric acid cycle, pentose phosphate pathway, and glycolysis during starving state, whereas in the normal state, the skeletal muscle and liver cells stored monosaccharides in the form of glycogen.
Did you know that even though the brain is only about 2% of your body weight, it uses about 20% of the body's total energy? Glucose, which is a product of carbohydrate metabolism, is the brain's fuel of choice. So, when you think hard or solve a problem, you can thank your efficiency carbohydrate metabolism for providing the energy your brain needs to function properly. For example, when you eat foods rich in carbohydrates such as bread, pasta, and fruits, carbohydrate metabolism will transform this carbohydrate into glucose in your body. Glucose actually can use for a quick energy source or store as glycogen for later use. Then, your muscle use glycogen for strength and endurance during activities. Meanwhile, your brain use glucose for enhancing functions and keeping you sharp. In essence, carbohydrate metabolism is the powerhouse behind your body's vitality, fueling both physical activities and mental acuity.
Okay, we move to the application in manufacturing industry related to carbohydrate metabolism. Okay, the first application is bioprocessing for biofuel production. So, how the application it is? Okay, microbial fermentation processes for biofuel production. So, let me explain more. In the production of biofuel such as ethanol, bacteria or yeast are often employed to ferment carbohydrates derived from renewable sources like corn or sugarcane. Next, carbohydrates are broken down through glycolysis and other metabolic pathways to produce ethanol and carbon dioxide. Next, efficient control and optimization of carbohydrate metabolism in this microorganism are critical for maximizing biofuel yield. In the other hand, manufacturing processes in this context involve large-scale fermentation tank, monitoring and controlling variables like temperature, pH, and nutrient availability to ensure optimal carbohydrate metabolism and biofuel production.
The next application in manufacturing industry is production of therapeutic proteins using mammalian cell structure. In the biopharmaceutical industry, mammalian cell structure are often used to produce complex therapeutic proteins, including monoclonal antibodies. Mammalian systems are often preferred over other hosts, such as bacteria, plants, and yeast, because of their capability for proper protein folding, assembly, and post-translational modification. These cells utilize carbohydrate metabolism to generate energy and produce the necessary biomolecules. Glycosylation, which is the process of adding carbohydrates chain to proteins, is essential for the effectiveness and security of many therapeutic proteins. Thus, in this production, manufacturing process involve in optimizing culture conditions, media formulations, and process parameters to ensure proper carbohydrate metabolism, leading to the desired glycosylation patterns in the produced proteins.
The first function being to provide energy, which means to break down glucose in carbohydrate to energy. In other words, it's also known as respiration. Now, there are two types of respiration, the first one being aerobic respiration and the second one is anaerobic respiration. An example of anaerobic respiration is glycolysis. Glycolysis is the first stage of glucose metabolism. For instance, when you eat a piece of bread, one molecule of glucose in that bread will be converted to 2 units of pyruvate, followed by the reduction of NAD ion to an ADH molecule.
Our body converts carbohydrate into glucose, a simple sugar, when we eat them. Blood sugar level rise as a result of the absorption of glucose into the bloodstream. Insulin is Insulin aids in the uptake of glucose by cells for storage or energy. Glucose is the main energy source for cells, especially brain and muscle cells. The muscles and liver can store extra glucose as glycogen for later use. Similar to muscle tissue, the liver can store glucose energy as glycogen, but when the blood level is low, the liver will give up its stored glucose energy to other muscle tissue. The liver contains roughly 25% of the body total glycogen content, which is comparable to 4-hour supply of glucose. However, this is largely dependent on one's level activity. The glycogen reserve is utilized by the liver to maintain blood glucose levels within a specific range in between meals. This complex mechanism guarantees a continuous level of energy, sustaining bodily process and physical exertion all day long.